Hi, I'm Max Rodriguez, and this is Writers on Writing. Let's talk about, we have an election coming up, Eddie. We have an election coming up. We have a choice between Trump and Clinton. Mm-hmm. And there are so many questions as to what is it that they actually bring into office? What do they represent? Against your call for a revolution in values, mm-hmm. we have two candidates whose very value sets are questioned, mm-hmm. are in question. Mm-hmm. Where do we go from here? Where do we, those who see ourselves from the idea that you present, mm-hmm. of self-value, mm-hmm. projected into community, right. Where do we go when our choices, the integrity of the candidates are in question?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really great question. I mean, in the book, I talk about the blank out campaign, and I wrote it with the idea that it was going to be an election between Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton. But there's no viable distinction to be made, I think, policy-wise between those two. But it's Trump and Clinton, right? Again, and remember I said he was, Trump is kind of an exaggerated indication of the rot at the heart of the country. But Hillary Clinton is also, I think, the poster child of a neoliberal kind of takeover of the Democratic Party, right? The very economic philosophy that has devastated not just simply communities of color, but America generally. So the one thing we can't do in this moment is to act from a position of fear. You know, it goes all the way back to Hobbes and Leviathan around how political fear can be mobilized to exploit people. And if our sole motivation to act politically in this election cycle is a fear of Donald Trump, then we will, as my daddy would say, run smack into danger. Right? And so part of what we have to do is to understand our power and our leverage and try to figure out how we can do two things simultaneously. And this is an evolving position from the book, where we can blank out, but we blank out in a strategic way. That is to say, if you're in a swing state, if you're in a battleground state, it makes all the sense in the world to me that you should vote for Hillary Clinton, right? Because of what Trump represents in terms of the Supreme Court, what he represents in terms of destabilizing markets, and what he represents in terms of X, Y, and Z. But if you're in a red state or a decidedly blue state, right, it makes sense to me that you can blank out and vote down ballot, that you can vote for a third party or just leave the presidential ballot blank. So for example, my parents live in Mississippi, as you know, and there's no way Hillary Clinton's going to win the state of Mississippi. And so if they have an issue with her, they can leave the presidential ballot blank and vote down ballot. And that will have an impact in 2020 because the number of people who vote in that presidential election for the Democratic candidate affects the number of delegates that state can send to the 2020 Democratic Convention. Mm-hmm. So we have to do two things simultaneously. We have to keep Trump out of office, and we have to announce that business as usual is unacceptable. And so we have to send a message to Hillary Clinton that we're organizing now around a set of interests, around a set of values, right, that will push this country in a different direction. We will not make the same mistake that we made in 2008, where that energy, that organizing energy, was directed and channeled into getting Barack Obama in office. And then as soon as he was elected, it was demobilized. And then it had to figure itself out again. And it emerged as Occupy. It emerged as Black Lives Matter in all of its various instantiations. But if we're organizing on the front end, not because we're afraid of Trump, but we understand that Hillary Clinton and the Democrats can't win unless people of color turn out in massive numbers. But we turn out not because of a fear of Trump, but because we are in the process of engaging in this democratic work, right? Then we have a different orientation for the election.
We hope you enjoyed Writers on Writing. Please visit us on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and on QBR.com.